this money that she's saying she gave to other people for other things, she didn't. Because everything that we gave, I was helping her at the time, and I'm the one who helped bring her down. She might not know it, but she knows it now. Because when I found out what she was doing, I don't believe in that. And I don't think, every time she's done it, she's done this more than one time. She's done it in Texas, she's done it in Lake Charles, and she's done it in here. She denies it every time.
We are about to watch the Louisiana parole hearing of a woman whom I think all of us, or most of us, have no patience for, and that is a scammer. Now, not just any scammer, but a scammer who took advantage of people who have just survived a hurricane, who had just lost their homes to Hurricane Ida. And here she is taking their money, claiming to build them a new home, and all under the name of faith. As a matter of fact, her non-for-profit organization was called the Pastor's Army. And she has a long history of doing these kind of scams. As a matter of fact, she was once on the top 10 most wanted list. Now, she was sentenced to 10 years in prison and up for parole after serving just 2. So with that, let's jump in.
Misty Foley, 418-135.
Okay, Ms. Foley, you're here today for a parole hearing. Your parole date was 2/28/25. Your good time date is 2/27/26, and your full term date is 8/27/32. You were given a total of 10-year sentence for theft, forgery, and theft. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Foley. Tell me, why do you think we should let you out today? What did you do, and why should we let you out?
What have I done since I've been incarcerated?
Ma'am, first tell me, what did you do to get yourself incarcerated?
Oh,
And then tell me what you've done since you've been incarcerated.
okay. I was charged with theft of and monetary goods. I just, things got out of hand, and I didn't handle the things that I handle money the way I should have. In a timely manner. I was overwhelmed, and I take full responsibility for that.
So what was your charge? What were you doing? You were scamming people?
No, well, I wasn't scamming people. But I did take money from people, and I did not do the things that I had promised them in a timely manner. I used the money for other things.
Okay, what you use the money for?
I used the money to buy diesel, and I used the money I gave money to people that, needed things that weren't part of what I had promised.
Okay.
I gave money, to other families when I should have taken care of the families that I had promised to take care of first.
Were you doing any drugs or any alcohol?
No, sir, I've never done drugs.
Okay, and why do you think, what have you done since you've been in prison?
I've taken the time to work. I've been the chaplain's trustee. I was on the yard crew in Tallulah. I kept asking to get into any and all classes, but they told me I wasn't eligible until a certain date. I was 2 years of my sentence. I was pre-trial. I've came to work release. I'm a forklift driver at Barry's Plastics. I work 140 hours every 2 weeks. I lost my father a month before my sentencing. And I want to get home to help my mom financially and support and, her grief and give me time to start my grieving process.
Okay.
I'm going to continue with my job if I'm able to if I'm able to keep that job, being that it's in Monroe. If not, I have a job, 2 different job opportunities. I have a job at Turner Industries in the refineries in Lake Charles, or I can go back to working for McDonald's. I was a manager over there and my job's been offered back to me.
Okay, all right, now we're
But I'll
gonna,
live, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm gonna be living with my mother and grandmother.
okay. We have, Mr. Quint Lanier, a
Minor.
big nephew. Mr. Lanier, what do you have to tell us? You're on mute, Mr. Lanier.
All right, what I want to say is, when she was down here, she would do alcohol. She said she wasn't on drugs and alcohol, but she did alcohol. She took money over $200,000 from a population of 3,300 people, and she took money from several people to rebuild homes that they had to put up so much money. My uncle had to put up $17,000.
That's not true.
Do not interrupt while he's speaking. Keep going, sir.
So my uncle put money up. Another guy that I'm speaking for is Tracy Lacoste. He put money up. The other people put money up. Okay. This money that she's saying she gave to other people for other things, she didn't. Because everything that we gave, I was helping her at the time, and I'm the one helped bring her down. She might not know it, but she knows it now. Because when I found out what she was doing, I don't believe in that. And I don't think, every time she's done it, she's done this more than one time. She's done it in Texas, she's done it in Lake Charles, and she's done it in here. She denies it every time. Here we are back in hurricane season 3 days ago, January 1st, and it's time for her to be looking at parole. And what's going to happen if we get a hurricane and she goes to another distribution center and scams all these people again?
Sir,
So
what was she doing? You said you asked her, I mean, you knew what she was doing. What was she doing?
at first she was just doing food distribution and stuff to help the people in the community. That I cannot deny. She's done a great job.
Mhm.
And then she got greedy and started to try to help people rebuild their houses. Okay. So she went to the people, and I think she had help, and she didn't want to throw nobody else under the bus, but she went to the ones that couldn't read and write really. And she talked them into giving her money, and they would get a new house out of it because they had to pay 1/3. Samaritan's Purse would pay 1/3, and another group would pay 1/3. And then she kept telling them, well, your house is in Homer. Like my uncle, she'd say, your house is in Homer. We just got to wait for the permit. We got to wait for this. The house was never, ever. Because I went to Minnesota to talk to these people, and they don't even know Misty Foley.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate your statement.
Thank you. sir.
Okay, Ms. Foley, I read your case thoroughly, and that is what happened. It was a natural disaster. You were getting money from people promising that what was it y'all call it? The pastor's army would help and get the money. You were on supervision. You were released in 7/5/22. You were returned in 2/26/24 because of a new felony conviction. How long totally have you served on the 10 years?
He's on mute.
You're on mute. Unmute, please.
Can you unmute yourself?
I think he did it
Okay, how many years did you serve?
3 years
Okay,
on
3
the
years.
12th.
Oh, okay. And I do want to state for the record that there were numerous other victims opposed, Melanie and Vivian Burnett, Kayla Bowie, Jeanette and Samuel Small. You know, so, I just wanted to know that, and then all law enforcement is opposed. I have no further questions. Any of my
I have no questions.
No questions. Think it's time to vote, Mr. Freeman?
Okay, my vote is, to deny. This is a terrible offense happening when people couldn't take it the most. And, you have a history since 1998. All you've ever done is issue worthless checks or scam people. So my vote is to deny.
I concur with Mr. Freeman.
And I concur also, as of 10:58 this morning, on June the 3rd of 2025, that your parole request has been denied.
Thank you. But why can't I?
Quick denial, and I love her nephew for standing up there and saying, and I don't know if she knows this, but I put her in prison, and good job on you. There need to be more guys that are putting away these scammers, right? Even if you're flesh and blood, because I just can't. They disgust me. They really do. Preying on people who've lost their homes to natural disaster. And it's like, and so I'll read through this article, but like they mentioned, like they touched on, she has a long history. Lady Holly found a Facebook post of her committing crimes back in 2016, and I'll read some of the comments on that by people who are directly affected by her scams just after we touch on this. So now think about this. This article was only written June 15th, 2022. Now I know time flies. This hearing happened June 2025. So I guess she was locked up 3 years if she didn't get out of jail, couldn't make bond. But she has made expensive bond before. But a Lake Charles woman was arrested and left on theft charges after authorities said she scammed several Hurricane Ida victims in Terrebonne Parish. Misty K. Foley, 46, is charged with felony theft over $5,000. The charges resulted from a sheriff's office investigation after detectives received a complaint of Foley had scammed multiple Ida victims in the Deloge area. During the aftermath of Category 4 hurricane, which made landfall August 29th, Foley had been involved with a not-for-profit organization called the Pastor's Army. The group established a distribution site of the older large elementary to help community with recovery efforts. And here's the point that the nephew had made. If she's the only one that went to prison for this, yet it's a group, it makes me wonder. As the site coordinator, Foley was responsible for the day-to-day operations of the hurricane recovery efforts. The sheriff's office said members of the organization began receiving calls from area residents about its services, which led to an audit of its records and distribution sites. So is it possible that the organization is a good one and she embedded herself in it and scammed directly and the organization had nothing to do with it? Or like the nephew suggested, she's the only one that took the fall? I don't know. The audit revealed several financial discrepancies within the records. Throughout the investigation, Terrebonne detectives discovered information of several additional residents that paid Foley large sums of money for services to rebuild their homes, which were never completed. She was held on $500,000 bail. Now, I'm going to read to you some of the comments on Facebook. I'm not going to screen share it because I just don't know YouTube's policies with shit. So I'll just read it to you. So there was a post in 2016 on Facebook. Crime Stoppers of Union Parish. Miss Foley, she was 40 at the time, formerly from Marion, is currently wanted in Union Parish Sheriff's Office and Crime Stoppers for charges of unauthorized use of access to card, identity theft, and felony theft. Now listen to this. There's a comment under it that said, she did this to my grandparents in early 2016. As my grandmother was sick with cancer and ended up passing away, my grandfather tried to press charges where we live, but they never found her. And another comment: how'd she get out of bail? How'd she get out when her bond was so high? There's really no justice. Someone else said this is her third fraud case. She was recently arrested in Texas, and this is 29th. So she really has been going involved in this just forever. And the Texas case, Lady Holly pointed information on it. it's, let me see. So Texas, I mean, I can't stand scammers. And the idea that she's getting out in good time of the year is disturbing. It really is, because it's just, why would you get only 4 years for it? During his investigation, a DPS ranger Parker found Misty, whose name was actually Mr. Dada, who was arrested on warrants out of Union Parish, Louisiana, for felony unauthorized use of access to card identity theft. You know, this is out of Texas, like they said. All right. There's more information that Lady Holly pulled, as you can see here on her very extensive spreadsheets. But we'll just jump to the fact of the day before we go to another parole hearing. And the fact of the day is that the tallest president ever was Abraham Lincoln, standing at 193 centimeters, which is 6'4", I believe. And that's pretty interesting, right? And back in the time when the average height of a man was probably like 5'3", let's ask Rock, what was the average height of a man? 5'7" to 5'8". Yeah, he's a big man. And who's the second tallest president? So what was funny is when I asked Grok who the second tallest president was, they said that it was Thomas Jefferson, and Thomas Jefferson is 6'2.5" And I said, well, Trump is 6'3". And Grok said, oh, you're right. We made a mistake. The second tallest president is Donald Trump. And let's see, the other fact of the day is country's 16th president was also the Wrestling Hall of Fame. He was a talented wrestler before he took the top job and won 299 out of his 300 matches. Oh my God. What kind of winning percentage is that? That's nuts. A wrestling president. And there you have it. A scammer who will be getting out in a year, who shows no remorse, who actually seems to still deny the crime and blah, blah, blah. But at least the nephew stood up. We need more nephews like that. And now we're going to jump into another hearing. Totally different kind of hearing. So let's go.
When I killed him, like it was just different that night. Like he was just a totally different person. Like the way he fought me, he had never fought me like that before.
Physical aggression got started, and then you did pull a knife out on him, and he got the knife away from you, and then you pulled a second knife out. So, and when you didn't let it go, you grabbed another knife. So you must have been, what were you thinking to do with the second knife?
When he took the first knife, he was behind me. So I didn't know where the first knife was. So it wasn't that I was thinking to do anything with it. I just grabbed another one because I felt like I needed to protect myself because I didn't know where the first knife was.
And we are about to watch a Louisiana commutation hearing of a woman who stabbed her boyfriend to death back in 2010. Now, she was 24 years old at the time. They were in an altercation. Things got physical, and she stabbed him. Now, she is making a claim that it was a DV relationship, that she felt she had to protect herself, but the DA is here and others are here to poke some holes in her argument. Now, she was given a 25-year sentence. She is asking them to commute her sentence so she can get out earlier. I want to let you know ahead of time that I cut through some of the support. It's not that I'm being looking down on the support. I think they all had meaningful things to say. It's just that I needed to shorten the hearing, and the way that they changed the format in Louisiana by having support talk first makes it less, I think, digestible. If you want to see the support statements, you can go to Louisiana's channel and watch them there. And with that, let's jump in.
As stated, your DOC number is 585578. You're here this morning before the pardon board because you've submitted an application for a commutation of your sentence and you were sentenced in East Baton Rouge Parish in the 19th Judicial District. September of 2011, you received a 25-year sentence for a manslaughter conviction. You're not eligible for parole, but your good time mandatory release date is June 26, 2030. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Before we hear from the folks who want to speak today, we'd like to hear from you first, Ms. Austin. Tell us, why are you in prison? Why are you seeking a commutation of your sentence, and why do you think we should vote favorably for you today?
I am in prison because I was in a relationship, and I stabbed and killed my boyfriend, which I have been living with from that day. I am seeking commutation because I do realize that I've done something wrong, but I would like to give everything back that I've learned. I came to prison hurt, but I came to prison and I wanted to better myself because of the reason why I was here. I came here for hurting somebody, and it is something that I never wanted to do again. So when I made it to prison, I made it my mission to learn how to better myself, how to not go down the same path. I'm asking the board to grant me favor because I cannot give back the life that I've taken, and I'm very sorry for that. But I would like to be able to give back to my community, to help people not end up in the same situation that I ended up in, be able to talk to, young girls and women so that they can know when it's time to leave, so you don't end up hurting somebody the way that I've hurt his family, the way that I hurt my family. Just to be able to not have a repeating cycle for so many other people. I just want to be able to give back, just to show people that I'm not the person that I was when I came to this place.
Okay. Thank you. Warden Thomas, what can you tell us about Ms. Austin?
Yes, ma'am. Monchelle is actually a minimum 1, so minimum security MH. She's worked at headquarters. She works actually now with some of our mental health inmates, mentoring and being a guidance for them. She's not had a write-up since 2019. She spent a good bit of her early years with us. She already had a diploma, but spent some time with vocational trades and welding and furniture restoration, and had started heavy equipment. So we really do not have any trouble with Miss Austin. I know she has a lot of family support, which a great deal are here. So that's always a good thing. But also Mr. Myers, I think, will speak to her residence plan with Parole Project. So I won't really touch too much on that because I know he goes usually quite in depth on what her plan will be if she is granted. So, but like I said, we really do not have any trouble with Miss Austin at all here at the facility.
Thank you. All right, so let's hear from the Parole Project, Mr. Myers. Ms. Chambers, we'd like to hear your presentation, please.
Good morning. I want to begin first by acknowledging the pain and the grief that Mr. Blunt's family have experienced and that they continue to experience. And I want to echo Ms. Austin's recognition that there is no amount of words, actions, or accomplishments that can be measured against their loss. Every day for the last 15 years, Ms. Austin has felt profound remorse for taking the life of Hyson Blunt. Judge Johnson, the 19th District, said clearly at her sentencing that not only did he not believe that Ms. Austin desired the death of the victim, but also that he believed, quote, "She is remorseful about it, and that if she had to do it over again, she would not." Ms. Austin understands that there is no amount of time that will make up for what she has done, and that the only way forward is to put in the work to make sure that something like this never happens again. The Ms. Austin who sits before this board today is someone who has put in that work. She is described by everyone who knows her as a peaceful spirit, a supportive friend, sister, and aunt, a caregiver, and a kind, generous, and selfless woman. Today, I'm going to address her rehabilitation and her thoughtful reentry plan. Before I do that, I want to clarify something Ms. Austin said about her relationship with Mr. Blunt. Mr. Blunt was physically abusive towards Ms. Austin. She tried to leave him several times during the relationship, and each time, his violence toward her escalated, including on the night Ms. Austin killed him. Ms. Austin had never had healthy relationships modeled for her, as both her mother and her sisters were in abusive relationships at the time. During her time in prison, she has worked specifically to ensure that she understands the nature of domestic violence, ways to identify its hallmark, and tools to create healthy relationships dynamics. Now I'd like to talk about Ms. Austin's profound rehabilitation. Ms. Austin has thrown herself into prison programming, earning over 40 certificates, 26 of which are self-improvement programming. Ms. Austin has taken classes to address the factors that led her to prison. She has taken domestic violence programming through My Sister's Keeper to help identify and avoid relationships like the one she had with Mr. Blunt. She has taken anger management and cage your rage to learn how to de-escalate and walk away from tense situations. She has found community with Kairos and has learned how to process her emotions in healthy, productive ways. She's had only 6 write-ups during her time at LCIW, the last of which was over 6 years ago. Ms. Austin has also obtained a technical degree in welding from Baton Rouge Community College, taken digital literacy courses, and focused on building skills that will help her return to the workforce. Ms. Austin has also served as both a formal and informal mentor for other women at LCIW, and she has been a dedicated volunteer, from helping other incarcerated women during family visits to crocheting blankets for the Olive Branch Senior Home. In addition, Ms. Austin has a strong reentry plan with the full support of the Louisiana Parole Project. Her long-term goal is to put her passion for welding to use, but she also has a plan in the interim to work with her sister at Chick-fil-A in Baton Rouge. Long-term, she hopes to live with her sister, Tashay, who just spoke, but she hopes to utilize LPP transitional housing to start. She also hopes to continue with programming and to take advantage of all of the support the Parole Project has offered. Her goal long-term is to work with girls and young women to help them identify and avoid domestic violence early on. She knows from her personal experiences that this problem often starts from a young age, and that for many women, it is the only example of a relationship that they have. She's already made inroads with the Sacred Heart of Jesus Church in Baton Rouge and its pastor, Father Johnson, who has invited her to help the youth in his ministry. There is no amount of time long enough to make up for someone losing their life, but Ms. Austin has spent her time doing everything she could possibly do while she was incarcerated to gain insight into her actions and to prepare herself for reentry. She has been an asset to her community within LCIW, and she knows that she can be an asset to her community outside as well. Ms. Austin has been evaluated as low risk since she has been at LCIW, and she has a thoughtful reentry plan. She has family ready and willing to support her if she were to return home, and she has demonstrated that she is ready for release, and that the energy she poured into serving others at LCIW can now better be used to support and serve her community on the outside. We ask this board to recommend her pardon, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. All right, now we'll hear from the opposition, and first we have Angel Miles. And step up to the podium, please. Can I read that? Sure.
My name is Angel Miles, and I'm writing this, I'm saying this because on behalf of my little brother. She wants penalty or probation. I don't think she deserves it. Because only she had one night, she had 2. If he wanted to leave, one of the things she had to do was let it leave. My brother cannot get up out the cemetery and walk around and live freely like she wants. So I don't think she deserve anything. If you love him, you wouldn't have done it. If he got one night, why would you go back and get another? If you didn't mean to kill him. So she wants that, but that's not what we, who knows, my brother could be married, they have kids, we could never get that chance to meet. He wants to be with his family too, but he can't, she won't go home to her. But we can't have him. So I don't think she deserves anything, but if you go to that whole thing.
Also, we have Rhonda Blunt. She don't speak. We have a representative from the DA's office, Ms. Barbera.
Good morning, Chairman Renata. Thank you. As Ms. Chambers stated, Judge Johnson did take several things into consideration when he sentenced Ms. Austin, and the sentencing transcript is very clear. I would just remind everyone that the range in this case was 0 to 40 years. And Judge Johnson determined in his discretion that 25 years was the appropriate sentence, and obviously took many things into consideration that Ms. Chambers and Ms. Austin represented to you today. As you all know, there is a good time release prior to her parole eligibility date, and we would just respectfully ask that Ms. Austin stay where she is and continue serving the community at LCIW in the manner she has been doing. That is very much appreciated and recognized, but we believe strongly that she still has accountability, that she needs to serve the additional time until her release on good time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Austin, your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Would you answer any questions he has?
Good morning, Miss Austin. How are you?
I'm here, sir.
Good. I went through your file. I want to ask you several questions. Say the officer responded to a gunshot. Was there a gunshot?
No, sir.
You also said, and tell me, you've been trying to do a lot of things to better yourself. What have you been doing to try to better yourself since you've been incarcerated?
I've taken a lot of classes. I have also done vocational classes. One that really is really dear to my heart is welding. It was a passion that I found while being incarcerated that I probably never would have found while being at home. I took a class called Sisters Keepers that an officer here has started. She is a victim of domestic violence, and she also lost her daughter to domestic violence. So she teaches how to know or recognize, when something is being domestic, because it's not always physical. She taught us how to understand psychological and, financial. I've also taken victims impact, which not only moved me, but it helped me to understand the pain that I've caused his family, which I already know because I feel the same pain. But it helps me to empathize that no matter what I do or what I say or what I ask for, he will never be able to come home. He'll never be able to see them again. And for that, like, my heart hurts. So I have just, been trying to be my best. I talk to the younger offenders when they come in, if they, start acting up. I just try to be a role model because nobody needs to be in a place where we're already, incarcerated and still be having a mindset to where it's not time to change. Because at some point, we all need to better ourselves. So I've just been doing my best to be a better person, to help people be and help other people be better.
Thank you. How long did you and your boyfriend live together?
I got with him when I was 18. I think the first time we moved in with each other, I was 19 years old. And then we lived in different places a lot. There was a time that we weren't together maybe it was about a year and a half that we were not together. And then when he came back, we moved right back in. So we always lived with each other.
How long? About how long? Off and on, 2-3 years.
Yes, sir.
2-3 years. So did you guys, and I read where he punched you. You say he punched you?
Yeah.
Where did he hit you?
Where did he hit me? In the face.
Okay. So you guys had confrontations quite often?
Yeah, over the years we had a lot. It didn't really become physical too often, but when it did become physical, it wasn't as bad until the night of when I killed him. Like it was just different that night. Like he was just a totally different person. Like the way he fought me, he had never fought me like that before.
I see. I read where you say he was coming towards you. How did you end up stabbing him? You tried to stab him, or
I did. I wouldn't say I tried to stab him. When he came forward, I just put my arm out. So as he was coming forward, I was moving forward, and that's how I stabbed him.
I see. Okay. Thank you. I have no more questions.
Just a little bit more about, and Mr. Tillis covered a lot of my questions, because you said that actually, the physical aggression got started, and then you did pull a knife out on him, and he got the knife away from you, and then you pulled a second knife out. So, and when you didn't let it go, you grabbed another knife. So you must have been, what were you thinking to do with the second knife?
When he took the first knife, he was behind me. So I didn't know where the first knife was. So it wasn't that I was thinking to do anything with it. I just grabbed another one because I felt like I needed to protect myself because I didn't know where the first knife was.
Yeah, it says he reached around me and took the knife out of my hand, so I grabbed another. And then he started to walk towards me and I stretched my arm out. But I didn't realize I had stabbed him until he pulled up his shirt and blood was pouring down his chest. I don't have any more questions.
Were either of you intoxicated on drugs that evening?
I wasn't. I don't know about him.
No alcohol involved.
Block. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Ms. Austin, I have just one, well, maybe a couple. In your application, you indicate that you were introduced to domestic violence at age 14. Can you explain that?
I had a boyfriend that he was a friend of my cousin, and I told him I didn't want to be his girlfriend anymore. And he took me around the building and he choked me until I almost passed out. Until I basically told him that I would still be with him. That was the first time I ever experienced domestic violence.
Okay, so within your own home, there was no domestic violence issues in your childhood home?
No, my father used to abuse my mother.
Okay. And I asked that question because, we do instrument, it's called ACEs, and which is an adverse childhood experience questionnaire. And I guess you answered these questions. And there was an indication in there that there was no domestic violence within the household. So can you just describe very briefly what happened in your house when you were a child?
Well, my dad was killed when I was 6, but I do remember I don't remember actually seeing it, but I remember my mom talking about how my dad used to abuse her. I know that for sure she lost 2 kids because he abused her. My sister that spoke, the middle child, she lost one before her and one after her from my dad abusing her. But like I said, I don't remember it, but I know, and I'm from hearing, what my mom would tell us that my dad used to abuse her.
Okay. And I think that's all I have. Mr. Pratt?
2 questions. Were the police ever called to any of your domestic violence situations at your house with this fellow?
No, sir.
Okay, so there's no record of that.
No, sir.
Okay, and when is your release date going to be, your first release date, when you gonna get out?
I think my good time date is in 2030.
Okay, so you're getting out in 2030 because of the state of Louisiana laws at the time, anyway, regardless of our decision today, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, let me just state for the record, you heard from the opposition from the district attorney's office. There's also opposition from law enforcement in East Baton Rouge Parish. And the Judge Johnson, indicated he was not opposed to some relief for you. So just so you know that. I don't see any other questions, Ms. Austin, so I guess we are prepared to vote. Mr. Hillis.
I see the remorsefulness in you, and you've been trying to better yourself. I understand that. My vote today is going to be to grant computation.
And it would be immediate parole eligibility is what you're saying?
No, yeah, immediate parole.
Okay. Mrs. Stapleton?
You have done a lot since you've been incarcerated, and man, this is very difficult because I do know that domestic violence does escalate, and golly. As Ms. Barbera said, it could have been a 40-year sentence. The judge reduced it to a 25-year sentence. If you get out on good time, your good time date will go to a 19-year sentence. So my decision today will be to not grant clemency so that you can get on the good time date.
Mr. Prater?
Deny this request because of law enforcement opposition and because of the length of time served. I think she needs to go ahead and finish up and get out 30.
Mr. Freeman?
I also feel that she's already had a break when she got 25 years, as Ms. Barbera stated. So that was considered the rough upbringing and the environment. So my vote at this time is to deny.
All right, my vote today, Ms. Austin, would be to, along with Mr. Tillis, to grant your request for immediate parole eligibility based on the work that you've done since you've been there and the support that you do have in the community. And that vote does not reduce your sentence. It just gives you an opportunity maybe for an earlier out date. But it requires 4 like votes today. So you've received 2 votes that were favorable, 3 that were not. So the outcome of today is that your application for clemency has been denied. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
That concludes our business at your facility. We're going to sign off at 10:14. Thank you for accommodating.
Thank you.
All right, I want to come out saying that I don't really have like a super strong opinion on this case. I'm a little confused by it, actually. I mean, we see these hearings quite often, right, where the woman is in prison because she killed her man, and then she says that it was an abusive relationship, and then, but this is a little different, right? Like, even here at her hearing, she said, like, well, that night it was different. That night he was extra violent. That night it was worse than it's ever been. And it's almost like she's taking, at this point, at this hearing, a self-defense play. You know, it's like, it's not like she's saying it was an abusive relationship for 5 years and it was this boom, 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 and it escalated, and I snapped. No, instead it was, that night it was, I've never seen him like it. And it's kind of strange because he's the one who's dead. You're the one that stabbed him to death. As a matter of fact, he took your knife, the first knife, he didn't use it on you. You went and got a second knife. He still didn't use the knife he's holding on you because he didn't want to kill you. But you wanted to kill him, and you did. And it's just weird. The whole approach to it threw me off guard. And maybe I'm missing something. I like, guys, I listen to a lot of hearings, and sometimes I'm in it and I catch every word, and sometimes I'm not. And you know, call me out on it. You do call me out on it in the comment section. And it should be that way. We're not an echo chamber. I am only sharing my thoughts. And it's not like we have a live audience where we can have dialogue around it. But I just don't like where they drag people through the mud who are dead either. And I'm so happy that we had our ADA there. My favorite ADA. I know a lot of your favorite as well. Tracy Barbera. And she's special. You know, you could tell she cares. And it's imagine, just from the victim. You saw one victim come up and speak, to be in a room surrounded by people who are really stepping on the grave of your lost loved one, who is being portrayed to be a very bad person. And he might have been an abuser. I mean, I'm actually not, I don't think anyone was even denying that. But he's the one who's dead. And you have to assume that he had the option to not be, to have killed her, and he didn't. But it's a terrible situation. Obviously, she should have just, you know, it seems that it was rage that made her kill him, and that's the judge felt that way, obviously, as well, sentenced her to 25 years, and she didn't go to a jury trial. So everyone knew she was, and she has a good time date. She's getting out in 5 years. It's the right thing to do. I think it's the right decision. It felt a little, I was a little surprised how unprepared she was. And I often am so surprised by this. It's like, she has an attorney and the Parole Project and all the support. And it's like, do you not come in with a statement that is prepared, that would just flow a little better, make you look a little bit less, like, just like tell your story a little better? They never seem prepared, right? Or almost always never. And it shocks me being that. And I think that's part of a lot of this whole Parole Project and attorney speeches. It's just like a game. Like, do you really know this person? How much time have you really spent with them? Have you really put in the homework? Did you prepare the speech? Did you rehearse it? Like, is there any of that happening? Or is it, you know, here's a potential client, taxpayer dollars, let's go through the motions? I don't know. Let's see. Lady Holly called out this hearing, and we'll go through our fact of the day. So let's see. Oh, how could I forget the person that popped up on the screen there too? Did you see the whole parole? The whole parole board was looking. The board was looking. Tracy was looking. It was like, whoa! That was shocking. That's for sure. Some people should not be on devices, and you know, Louisiana needs to do a better job It's like they you know, one is I'm surprised worse hasn't happened over the years, but we have seen so many times where someone picks up the camera, they're driving or they're walking around, and it's like, don't be here. And if that person doesn't have the insight or know-how or whatever, like there should be a moderator sitting there in Louisiana, which like, you know, they have people there. There should be a designated moderator that would click someone off the screen. And I don't know, it's the strangest thing to me that they don't do that. But it's Louisiana, you know. They have their quirks. So in Arizona, it's illegal to have a donkey sleeping in the bathtub after 7 p.m. Like, what is that? This oddly specific law passed in 1924. Thank you, Holly, for putting in details about the law, because it always blows my brain up. After an Arizona merchant's bathtub was washed down into a valley when a dam broke, carrying his dozing donkey into troubled waters. Hundreds of people were involved in saving the sleepy, soggy donkey, so the law was signed into action to prevent endangering future bathtub-sleeping donkeys and to save everyone a bunch of time and effort. Ladies and gentlemen, I know these facts of the days are fun and, you know, whatnot, but I always will drive to the point that to get a law passed, they have to have their local legislator say, you know what, we're going to write this into law. And then people have to sign it. And now maybe at the time in 1924, this was a funny spectacle. It was probably talk of the little town. It was in the news. What else? There's no TV. No, what else are you going to talk about? And they jokingly passed the law, and they probably had like a drink around it. And it was, you know, something they spoke about for the next 10 years in loving memory. But the bottom line is that they still passed the law. And why do they not pass laws that are designed to protect our children, laws like that actually kind of make sense to protect communities? And I think, in short, there's no good answer for that question, because they don't, you know, the idea that it took forever until you could have statute of limitations for SA, you know, get removed or elongated, or the fact that like you still have laws in states where carnal knowledge of a juvenile can be a 2-year sentence when you SA, right? Like there are so many insane laws and no one changes them, and I don't know why, but it just takes a little bit of effort and awareness, and it's not hard to pass laws. I think people just need to want to do it. A donkey in a bathtub. I mean, we can't make it up. Why didn't anyone ask him why he has the donkey sleeping in his bathtub? I don't know. There's sort of been other questions asked when they saw that one. Oh God. With that, I'll let you go.
When I killed him, like it was just different that night. Like he was just a totally different person. Like the way he fought me, he had never fought me like that before.
Physical aggression got started, and then you did pull a knife out on him, and he got the knife away from you, and then you pulled a second knife out.